Welcome to the face and jaw series. This series is appropriate for just about anybody. There are no prerequisites, however, you will likely find that you will get faster, more satisfying, more consistent, and sustained positive results if you have some familiarity with the basics of the somatic inquiry that I offer. If you're not familiar with it, then I highly recommend that you participate in the Weekday Somatics series. All of those videos are excellent. And in particular, if you have not yet done so, I would recommend that you watch the Weekday Somatics from January 12th, 2021, which is the day that I'm recording this video as well. In that video, in that recording of that meeting, we explored a tool that is available to us for what I consider to be fascia release. So fascia is a soft tissue within the body, and I'm not an expert on fascia, but the specific fascia that we're addressing with that technique is the fascia that is underneath the skin. Having the correct understanding of that you can feel and recognize in your actual experience will be immensely helpful in this, and as I say, you will get much faster and more satisfying results. If you're familiar with Feldenkrais, you can use all of the Feldenkrais techniques, the Feldenkrais awareness through movement explorations, in conjunction with that fascia release and awareness process that I describe, and you will get much more satisfying results. It is functioning on a subtler level, and you will put it into practice, and you will find out for yourself. I will be reviewing that here, but this is not intended to cover all of the same information in the same way, so please do take the time to participate in that inquiry from January 12th, 2021, Weekday Somatics. It's on my YouTube channel. You may do this, well, let me say some of what you can expect, what outcomes you can expect. So if you presently experience any restriction or pain or discomfort or distress in your face or jaw, or if you experience regular, recurring, chronic, or even infrequent headaches, then you can expect, through consistent application of this inquiry that we will be beginning in this video shortly, substantial, eventually complete relief from that. You can expect that also you will gain greater confidence in all aspects of your life. And you will also if you allow it, you will be allowing for a surrender to to divine forces in your life that you will be able to increasingly trust and rely upon, so that you don't have to struggle in your life. What you will become aware of is that all of the self-effort that you have held in the jaw and neck and head have been the expressions of your own self-effort, which have been ultimately unsatisfying and painful to you. It's important to recognize. So let's begin to explore. You may do this from any posture, seated or lying down on your back, even on your side, even on your, you could even do it lying prone. But if you're able to do this seated or standing, but seated I think better for most, without strain, without being overwhelmed or overly distracted by any difficulty sitting upright, then you will likely find the most satisfying results doing it seated, upright. But if you, as I say, if you find that to be difficult, strenuous, and distracting, then you may do it lying down, or you may do it leaning back, reclining with support. The main thing is that you want to feel the support. When you really are connecting with that support, which is, if you participate in the Weekday Somatics series, particularly from the last 2 weeks, roughly, so around the 1st of January of this year, 2021, perhaps earlier than that. They're all excellent, but I'm just saying that from my memory, that's around the time when we really began to explore even more clearly how to connect to the support and receive the support. The clearer that becomes for you, the easier all of this becomes, and the more rapid the results, the positive results. So it's well worth taking the time to go through those and really just have the patience and willingness to do so. Trust that there's a wealth of grace in those videos. It's not coming from me. It comes through me, but it's a very beautiful gift. So if you can receive that, it will, I promise you, it will transform your entire experience of life. And it will tremendously empower this particular inquiry. But the main thing is that you can access that support. So when I say support, I mean support at all levels. Support at the physical level, at the energetic level. So energetic sounds a little woo, maybe, to some people, but it's a real experience, and actually, even in the mundane sense, all of us have an experience of that. For example, gravity is a force. It's an energetic force that we are all experiencing, unless you're not. But if you're not, then you probably wouldn't be watching this video because you'd already have access to all this information. So we're experiencing that force. We're experiencing that energy, and that's often the most direct way, the easiest way to access that. So you can notice that under you, as you experience under, you have this, there's a connection between your body and the surface that you are on, whether you're lying or sitting. And that there's an energetic quality. So you can feel that physically. You can be aware of it in a physical sense. You can be aware of your body in space. You can be aware of the connection and the sensation of that connection of your body to what is underneath you. You can be aware energetically of that force which is connecting you, so that you're not floating, but you are actually here connected to that which is underneath you, receiving your body, receiving your weight. So really get a sense of that. And again, whatever posture you're in, just sense that. If you're lying down or reclining, you'll sense that in all through the backside of the body. If you're sitting upright, you will notice it primarily in the thighs and the buttocks, but then you can start to become aware of how that support is moving through the body, so it moves through the structure of the body if you allow it. Otherwise, we're resisting and straining and struggling. But the more we surrender, the more we can receive that support and actually perceive it moving through the structure of the body, through the bones of the body, aligning the bones effortlessly as we surrender and release to that support. We can also become aware of the support at a subtler level, perhaps, as we become aware of the breath, become aware of the air, become aware of the air around the body, become aware of the air inside the body, become aware of how that air is gently and subtly supporting the body. It's lending to us an awareness of the skin, an awareness of the inside, an awareness of the connection between the inside and the outside, if we allow it. Don't overthink it, just observe and notice that it does lend that awareness if we just gently receive it. So this support is the most important thing. Because if we don't have an awareness of our connection with the support, then everything else becomes more complicated and overwhelming than it needs to be. So, in fact, as I hope that we will all discover more clearly, it was only ever our straining, our self-effort, our own indulgence of fear that was ever the obstacle, and we were only struggling with that. So my proposal to you is that everything that you experience that is associated with the head and jaw and neck, and truthfully anywhere in the body, but in this video we're exploring specifically the head, neck, and jaw. Anything that you experience there is a grasping, clinging, or armoring. It isn't, so therefore it's an expression of self-effort. It's an expression of my way, my knowledge, my perception, and my attempt to protect and defend that, to maintain its autonomy, because I fear the implications of surrender. I fear that in the surrender I will be destroyed, I will be harmed, and so I grasp ever more tightly, trying to maintain my autonomy, to maintain my self-defense. And this becomes a vicious cycle, and so here we can begin to learn how to soften that in a very gentle, patient way. And the more gentle and patient we can be with it, in fact, the more rapidly it will open up, because we can view ourselves, it helps, I think, to view ourselves as babies, newborn babies. And how does the newborn baby respond? Does the newborn baby understand the complexities of our thoughts and desires and intentions? Not so much. The baby responds to the energetic quality. So if we are energetically uptight, tense, armored, hardened, then the newborn baby only responds to that by doing the same. And so here we can start to see perhaps that that's what we've been doing to ourselves. We were growing increasingly frustrated because our bodies, our experience was not conforming to our ideal. But that ideal was too mental, too complicated, too sophisticated. It wasn't able to communicate at the correct level. So we need to shift our level so that we can communicate clearly. We need to become aware of the subtler energetic level in which we are clinging, grasping, armoring, defending. And I propose that this is actually physically stored in the fascia underneath the skin. And the reason that I believe that this is important to recognize is because we don't need to seek for the problem at a deep level. The problem is not a problem in the bones. It is not a problem in the organs. It is not a problem in the muscles. Even if the problem has penetrated into those areas, it is not caused by them, and it can only be resolved by first resolving where the core of the problem resides, which is a misunderstanding, a mismatch between the ideal that we hold and the surrender that is necessary. And again, I am proposing that is stored, that conflict, that discrepancy is stored in the fascia under the skin. So it's much easier to access than we imagined. It's much gentler than we imagined. It's much easier to release than we imagined. And if you're willing to suspend disbelief for a little while and explore openly that possibility, I am certain you will be amazed by the results. So we're going to use I'll call it a fascia awareness enhancing technique. It's one that we explored in the January 12th weekday somatics. And we're going to explore it on the face. So you can apply this anywhere on the face, and we'll do this somewhat systematically. This will happen over multiple videos, I can already tell. So to begin with, place your fingers on the cheeks lightly, sort of like Van Gogh's Scream. And just be aware of what it is that you are perceiving through the touch under the fingers. Are you able to clearly sense the bones? Can you clearly sense with your fingertips the shape of the skull? And depending on the placement of the fingers, perhaps to some degree the shape of the jawbone. Or is it unclear to you through this touch? Now, chances are it's unclear, or at the very least it could be clearer. And so that's what we want to explore. Now, what is it that prevents this clarity from shining forth? Why is it that we don't feel and sense the bones, the shape of the skull and the jawbone clearly? I'm proposing it's because we are maintaining unconsciously an armored state in the fascia. Now, the amazing thing about the fascia is that it's very responsive to our intention to soften. In order to soften, we have to surrender. So we have to be willing to surrender our self-effort. So have that intention, even if you don't know how to do that. It will become clearer through practice. So have the intention to soften, to surrender self-effort, to release into the support that is here, the support that is unconditional love. And allow for the tissue under your fingertips to soften, even if you don't know how to do that. Allow without pushing, so you're not pushing in, this is a very gentle thing, but just allow for the natural weight of the hands and arms to just gently, very, very gently tug on the skin so that you start to become more aware of how the fascia is holding, how you're pulling your cheeks up, and don't do that. Just let go. Let the hands gently lengthen the cheeks so that you can be actually inwardly become aware of the space between the cheekbone and the jaw, the lower jaw, increasing even though you're not opening the jaw. Or if the jaw is opening, you're not pulling it open. Let the space between the eyes and the cheekbones also soften and lengthen. Don't do anything that may be injurious. If this can't really be injurious, but if you have doubts, be gentler. We're not trying to stretch our faces out. We're just becoming aware of the natural elasticity, the natural softness and suppleness, the natural length, and the natural effortlessness that's possible when we just allow for the bones to do their job and allow the fascia to be soft and allow for the muscles to be free. Now, as you're doing this, thoughts may arise, images may arise, memories may arise. Just let them come and go, like clouds in the sky. They just come and go. Don't latch on to them. These have been stored here. These have been your way in which you've scared yourself to keep yourself stuck in these habits. If any of them are too scary for you to simply let them go, if you have doubt, if you become fearful that, oh, I might be hurting myself, this might be wrong, then ease up. Always be gentle. Don't push, because that will make it slower. It'll be much faster if you remember to be gentle. Again, it's like you're a newborn baby. The newborn baby can respond so well to the loving, gentle touch. So be gentle and loving. Just let the cheeks go. Notice how much you've been holding here. This mask you've been wearing. So afraid to let the world see you as you are, afraid you're not enough, afraid you can't, afraid that others might judge you, that others might catch you unaware, that others might misunderstand you. So you've always been on the ready with the defense. The defense of the so-called friendly smile. It's not so different from the unfriendly snarl, though, so just let it go. Here you are. You don't have anything you need to prove in this moment. Just let it be soft. Now, this may be plenty. By the way, I moved my fingers. You might notice that you need to do the same because as I've been doing this, my cheeks have become so long that my fingers slid off of my cheekbones. So I brought them back up to the cheekbones. There's no right or wrong here, but I'm just informing you of what I've done. Now, as I say, this might be enough, but if you want to explore a little bit more, then let's consider some possibilities. So we can include some awareness through movement-like explorations along with this fascia softening technique. So keeping the fingers here, notice that you can, with the bottoms of the fingers, you can be aware of the lower jaw and where the lower jaw is in space. Now, let's explore just sort of reassuring the lower jaw to remain where it is with the hands as we open and close the mouth slowly and with awareness. Now, how can we do that? It's by moving the skull. So if the jaw remains where it is, the skull needs to move. I'll demonstrate. So try that out, and I'll make some comments about it as you're exploring that to perhaps be helpful suggestions. So as you're doing this, don't try to open the mouth as wide as you can. That's not the goal. Because what you're going to find is, of course, you can open the mouth wider than what you're going to do here. But you want to open it with awareness of what you're feeling here. So notice that as you open it, you'll feel how the tissue under your fingers is lengthening. Be aware of that and be aware of how you can release and surrender. The more awareness you bring to this, the more surrender you bring to it, the more intention to soften and release that you bring to it, the more miraculous and rapid the results. You will, if you do as I'm suggesting, you will find that the cheeks become so yielding you won't recognize yourself. Your whole identity up to now has been this hardness. Here you can experience such suppleness and softness and surrender in the cheeks. You won't know who you are. It will be wonderful. You'll also find that there are layers here. Each layer must release. So don't fall into the trap of thinking that you've done all there is to do here. I promise you, however soft they are, they can soften even more, even more. Any hardness, any tension, any ropiness, any numbness, any non-yielding qualities that you experience here can be released. Now, the second thing I want to say about this is when you're closing, let the hands just support the jaw so that you're making no effort whatsoever in the jaw. The jaw is just resting. And the third thing I want to say is allow the throat to open and soften and relax, and let it continue to be softened and relaxed throughout. Okay, when you're ready, slowly release the hands by letting them slide down so that you don't disturb anything, and let the cheeks remain soft and long, let the jaw remain soft, let the whole face and head be soft. Just take a moment to notice what this experience is, and notice how it's different than your usual habits of holding yourself. Give yourself the gift of remaining restful and aware, not indulging the habits to recontract. Notice whatever comes up. Maybe for some of us, there might be sensations and thoughts and images suggesting I can't, or I have to do something, or it's too hard, or whatever. And just soften, just relax. Notice the support. Keep letting this be soft. And in fact, you can let this be soft forever. Now, if your cheeks do not feel softer to you, if you did not notice a palpable softening, let me know. If you did, let me know. Either way, let me know. And I will be tailoring the rest of the videos based upon that. Thank you for joining me. Bye for now.